What's up guys, welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Well, do you see what I'm capable of now? You should resign and give up.
Gozarin mistook these words for condescension. Gadra didn't mean it that way, but Gozarin's pride as a formidable foe had been harmed. That was why surrender was out of the question.
That's excellent! I did want to use it, but I've changed my mind.
Gozarin took the tablet and swallowed it. She turned on the medical skill, the beast. Gozarin, like Baraga, was on the verge of immense power. But Gadra had no reason to wait for that.
Alright, in that case, I shall use you as a test subject for my new abilities.
Gadra smiled joyously at Gozarin. His gaze was that of a scientist observing a guinea pig.
Ultimate gift. Book of Sorcery. Activate.
The book in Gadra's left hand had an awful glow to it. Rimuru, or more specifically, Seal, controlled a lot of the spells in the book. Gadra's face lit up as she looked at the beautiful formulas in the book. He then chose the spell that looked most appropriate for the situation at hand.
Limited Hellflare.
Rimuru converted this martial art created by Benimaru into a skill. Because magic was a skill, it was mentioned in the grimoire.
What?
Although it was not as powerful as the one utilized by the creator, its power was flawless. Gozarin was unable to comprehend what had occurred and was burned irreproducible.
I wish I could have shown off more, but it was impossible.
Gadra mumbled while stroking his proud beard. But it was smooth, with no sign of stubble.
Oh no, have I transformed into a young man in appearance? That's concerning. My hair is completely black. I'll have to color it. No way, I'm going to employ transformation magic to get through this.
Gadra mumbled to himself as he read through the grimoire. All of the leaders of the Magic Beast Corps, led by Gladium, were thus defeated. On the battlefield, though, there was still risk. One man was overjoyed to find Gladium's head in front of him.
There's some delicious-looking bait laying around.
That was the source of his joy. Vega the Power, one of Cerberus' heads who had entered the Magic Beast Corps on Yuki's orders, grabbed the head without hesitation and devoured it. Vega's body was filled with power as he swallowed Gladium's corpse. His flexible body, resembling that of a predator, had expanded in size. Vega had grown large enough to stand alongside Gladium, who was nearly 2 meters tall, and his clothing was puffy with swelling muscles.
Not bad. But it is still insufficient.
Vega murmured to himself, but then he discovered more and more delectable-looking food. There was just the burnt, vermilion bird, Nazim, the dead, azure dragon, Baraga with a massive hole in his chest, and the metal remnants of black tortoise, Gozarin. Vega crept up softly and devoured his prey one by one, so fast that no one noticed. He was able to do so because of the might of his unique skill, Evil Eater, which he was born with. Vega was born in Ingracia, the royal capital. Unbeknownst to him, Vega was the offspring of magical inquisitors, whose parent had been transformed into a monster. His father, who had consumed so much of the monster component that he could no longer return, assaulted his mother, and Vega was born. As a result, Vega was born a heretic. He had an ego from the moment he was born, despite only being in his mother's womb for roughly 3 days. However, as a baby with no reason and no comprehension of language, his mother and others dreaded him as a monster. Instead of being cherished, he was nearly killed and fled into hiding. Vega survived over the subsequent decade. He survived by eating rodents, scavenging leftovers, and eating whatever he could get his hands on. He eventually ate a dying man after a battle. And suddenly he realized. He was surrounded by an abundance of food. Vega grew into a monster, even eating on humans. A subjugation order was issued, of course, but Yuki was in charge of it. Yuki was able to capture Vega with the assistance of Shizu Izawa, who was already working as an instructor at the time. He should have been executed, but Yuki believed that Vega's strength was too precious to be wasted. He possessed a powerful body and a keen feel of combat. Furthermore, he believed that Vega had the capacity to grow and could be utilized as a useful pawn if trained. Yuki duped Shizu into believing he had killed Vega. Damrata then trained Vega in the Empire. He'd evolved into a fearsome warrior by this point. Fortunately for Vega, the fight between the Devil Chevaliers and the Chimera Knights, who had arrived as reinforcements, was heating up. This enabled him to achieve his goal in a stealthy manner. He had the limbs of a huge beast, the body of strong magisteel, the might of a dragon that could repel magic, and even flying wings. Vega quickly received all of them. In addition, he obtained the mythical Great Azure Dragon Spear. Vega didn't care that he wasn't yet recognized as its master. He used all of his effort to force it to obey and fused them together. It was Gozarin's ability, the result of metal manipulation. Vega's entire body morphed into something even more horrifying after ingesting the mythical grade weapon. The incredible armor that enveloped his entire body turned him into an unidentifiable Majin. Gabble and the others were aware at this point.
What, is there still such a deadly Majin around?
Gabble exclaimed in amazement, and his subordinates couldn't help but grumble.
But Gabble-sama, aren't our hands already full?
Indeed.
Our supplies are getting low since we've been engaged in battle after battle. Gabble-sama, what shall we do?
It was very understandable. In truth, the Hiryuu's exhaustion was approaching its peak. If the Devil Chevaliers had arrived even a few minutes later, their battle line would have been destroyed long ago. After all, the Beastmaster's Warrior Alliance and the Tenshaoshu, both of whom were thought to be reliable reinforcements, were the first to abandon the front lines.
Oh no!
Sophia had exclaimed at the time. That was only the beginning. When Gabble inquired as to what was wrong, Sophia responded.
I'm so sleepy.
Gabble understood as well when he heard that. It was taking place. He recognized that the evolutionary slumber, a necessary element of the Harvest Festival, had begun at the most inconvenient time. This was a logical result of Carrion and Fry's impending awakening. It was pointless to complain about this unstoppable physiological condition. That is why Gabble and the others fought alone to keep this place safe. The other troops engaged the enemy at their own risk. Gabble and his subordinates, on the other hand, were unable to leave this place. That's why the exhaustion was so terrible. Gabble's cheeks became pale when Vega appeared.
Please be at ease, Gabble. I'll go speak with him first. He goes by the name Vega and is one of Yuki's colleagues.
How dependable. Gabble was impressed by Gadra.
I'm counting on you.
Leave it up to me.
They grinned and nodded to each other, having become friends in some way. Gadra then took a step forward towards Vega.
Vega, it's been a while.
Huh? Gadra, old man. I had heard that you had surrendered to the Demon Lord Rimuru, and it appears that this was true.
That's why I'm working with Yuki. It's great to have you here. You would be considered an enemy if it weren't for me.
I see.
Gadra approached him friendly, but Vega gave him an uninterested look. He diverted his sight hastily. There were now people who Vega thought were more interesting than Gadra. Carrion and Frey were in his line of sight. He could see food that appeared to be delicious all around them as well. Vega's mouth was drooling and he had an enthusiastic face as he imagined the flavor of the flesh.
I'll be the mediator here, and you'll help with.
Gadra's pleasant tap on the shoulder was slapped away by Vega's fist. Gadra, who was caught off guard, accepted it in stride. Vega's strength had now grown to the level of an awakened demon lord. His magicule count was more than twice that of Gadra. Gadra, who had transformed into a metal demon with superior physical defense, was no match for Vega, who had acquired mythical-grade weapons and had his entire body constructed of magisteel. Gadra's awareness was snuffed out and he was silenced with a single strike.
Gadra.
Gadra was an unreliable man, too, Gabble reflected as he yelled. Gadra was so sure of himself that he couldn't be stopped. Gabble was devastated since his hopes had been dashed. Furthermore, Vega's talent exceeded his expectations. At Carrion and Frey, Vega was licking his lips, as though he had no intention of hiding anything. His goal was crystal clear. If they didn't defeat him now, he'd gain even more power. Even now, he didn't know if he could beat him, and if he couldn't, there was nothing he could do about it. Gabble knew he had little chance of winning, therefore he had no choice but to give it his all here. I've always wanted to be noticed, but it's pointless if it happens this way. As he reflected, Gabble felt a little sorry for himself. Gabble was about to take a step forward when he was stopped by someone in front of him.
Gabble, you can leave this to me.
Are you not Laplace? What exactly are you doing here?
That's...
Laplace almost retorted that everyone else had left him behind, but then he went silent. He realized it would be awkward to say it.
There's no need to say anything. I'm here to help.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's quite comforting, Laplace.
Yeah, there's no reason to be concerned now that I'm here.
Laplace compelled the talk to end. Then he turned to face Vega, his professed comrade.
Alright, Vega, how come you hit old man Gadra?
Laplace asked Vega as he lightly swirled around. Vega, appearing irritated at Laplace, responded in a vexing manner.
Huh? Isn't it self-evident? It's because that old man tried to get in my way.
In your way?
Yes, that's correct. Anyone who tries to interfere with my dinner should be killed. So, why don't you just keep out of it, Laplace? Then, for old time's sake, I'll let you off the hook.
Laplace ceased twirling around.
That's a clever joke you're telling. Have you forgotten where you're supposed to be?
His voice tone was nearly the same as before. The mood, on the other hand, was so strained that it was not an exaggeration to say that something had changed. Vega, on the other hand, was unconcerned.
Oh, my position? You're the one who has no authority to give me orders. I heard Yuki was defeated by Rudra. I only obey orders from individuals who are more powerful than me.
Vega burst out laughing as soon as he said that. His laughter rang out over the battlefield.
I can't laugh. Your jokes are not amusing.
It's not a joke.
Suddenly, the vulgar cackling ceased. Laplace closed the gap in an instant and seized Vega by the neck.
If you underestimate people, I'll kick your ass.
Laplace raised a body that was more than double his size. Vega struggled, jerking his arms and legs. He didn't need to breathe anymore, but he was perplexed because he wasn't used to it. Laplace then landed a powerful knee blow on Vega. Even if he was pulled back, Vega, who had been held by the neck, had no possibility of escaping. Vega cowered in place as Laplace released his grip, attempting to catch his breath.
Wait. I apologize for getting carried away. Please forgive me. I've calmed down now.
Laplace was ready to kick Vega in the head when he saw him pleading. He then spoke in a chilly tone.
I'm not as kind as the boss. Expect no second chances.
I understand.
Then you'll have to act like an adult and follow me. And if you do anything, I'll be forced to stop you.
Vega simply nodded.
Got it. So, what's the next step?
I'll go where the president is. Tyr and Footman will return to normal as long as the president is saved. In any case, if we don't find a solution, we'll never be able to get the boss out. So don't go too far ahead of yourself.
I understand.
Vega nodded vigorously in response to Laplace's words. His anxious demeanor showed that he was terrified of Laplace. Laplace breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Vega in this light.
Is this going to be okay?
Gadra mumbled anxiously as he stood up.
Old man.
Vega postured and glared at him.
Gadra. Oh, Gadra, you're fine.
Gabble was astonished yet delighted.
As expected, the elderly man was unharmed, right?
Laplace was unsurprised as if he had anticipated it.
Of course.
He says.
I was knocked out briefly, but I'm well prepared for an emergency escape. I pretended to be attacked in order to catch him off guard and cast a powerful spell on him.
In actuality, the ultimate gift, Grimoire, included thought acceleration and parallelism as standard. By utilizing these traits, even if he loses consciousness, a backup thought will take control.
I see. I, too, was duped.
You're a great old man, seriously.
Well, I haven't spent this much time in vain. The issue with Vega is more significant.
Gadra was unmoved by Laplace's attempts to sidestep the issue.
New episode. In solo leveling, after a crushing defeat, Huang returns with vengeance in his heart. His deadly hunt for Sung Il-wan has begun. Don't miss the action in episode 23. Tune in now.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jared Bressler, Chad Vota, Chris Guzman, Havox, Speed Saber, James Waters, Arijit Das, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Just a Guy, Miss L.W. Hernandez, Jason Martin, Zach Rossan, Jerry Sladek, Stone Larone, Alfonso Smith, Donald Williams, Moab A, Day of Light, John M, John Charles, Godman Gaming, Akon Engok, Markithian Tidwell, Andre L. Hamilton, Adrian, Kumo, Sanketh Chelu, T. Bush, John L., Edgar Fuentes, JV, Dirty Old Hobo, Gonse Direco, Thomas, J., Christ, Juan Ignacio, Joshua Cousins, Jose Hernandez, Vethelny, Lunel Scarlett, Khalid, Christian Deshazer, Cal Robs, Divine C. Harris, Panda Cats, Aaron Alarcon, DeAndre Nance, Monty Boy 98, D-Man, Ruben, Luis Caro, Yuki Iki, Pedro Robles, Chris Jr., Isaac, Koala King 93, Paul DeGrassi, Little 95, Coyote de Peza, Quilly Buckner, Zephyros, Alver, Normal Defate, Joshua Andrade, Jaya Keshav, L, Gary Miles, Nobody 0034, Dragon Spawn 666, J Rule, Sayonori, Alfredo Renteria, Liel Tiram, Liron Sangkap, Eric Tass, Christopher Mash, Ekotski, Foolish Prophets, Ethan Madison, Louis Strutter, Charles Bailey, Sky T, Diego Ginoza, Nick H, Andre Hamilton, Jason Torres, Sesh, Guy Ansley, Simon Road, Emperor W. USA, Mika Espinosa, George Hage, Pratik Bandari, Arod Dare, Faiz Mansour, Deriha Skerte, Jackson Early, Smexy, Carl Stephen Bernadal, Tank Bailey, Gareth Hashimoto, Byron, Steven Madison, Homelike Drop, Nasir, Vasto Lord, Martin Ramos, Marl Barsha, Karen, Mark Charlie Els, Hansel Ortega, Yellow Wally, Efrain Hernandez, Luca Gaming WTF, William Locke, Jordan Mersha, Bismarck Munoz, Arian Booker, Kamal Luke, Izat, Wei Jun, Alvin Quarty, Chris Kaalim, Shin Kaizan, Kyusing Sang. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.